What up, what up? Welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Salvador Briggman, and on this channel, we demystify the world for you so you can go out there and you can take action. You can reach your full potential as a business owner, as a creator, as someone who's trying to impact the world ethically for the positive. To build a brand from scratch, we share with you exactly how to do that. And one of the most instrumental parts in bringing your ideas into reality is the funding to actually do that. So on today's video, I want to actually demystify Kickstarter, how it works, what Kickstarter funding is. Maybe you heard about this a couple of years ago, or you heard about this the other day, or you've been really thinking about this for a while and just want more clarity on how the whole Kickstarter process works and what the funding element is. I'm going to be talking about that on today's YouTube video. Stay tuned. We're getting into that in just a second. All right, man, I am so excited for you to get your hands on this information because it literally will change your life. When it comes to bringing an idea into reality, the number one thing that's stopping many people out there, even if they're ambitious, even if they're willing to hustle, even if they have an idea or a project that's going to ethically impact the world for the positive, maybe a board game that people are gonna love to play, or a physical product which they've invented and designed, they've come up with themselves that's gonna help other people solve problems in life and deliver incredible benefits, or it can even be a book, a novel, it could be a film, it could be a theater project, whatever it is. Kickstarter is one of the platforms which you can actually use in order to get funding for that idea. So I want to talk about that in today's video, and we'll really go through this in sort of bite-sized segments. So first of all, I want to talk about what is Kickstarter funding when people are referring to that online. We're going to then talk about kind of how it works in terms of launching a Kickstarter campaign, the funding elements, and lastly, we're going to conclude with really how to take action on this. If this is something that is going to work for you, if this is something that you should even ignore and not pay attention to, we're covering all of that in the video. So let's get to the first element, which is what is Kickstarter funding? What do people mean when they talk about Kickstarter funding? It's like a different terminology, right? Really what they're meaning is just getting funding on the website, which is Kickstarter. So Kickstarter.com, you can go to that website. It's a crowdfunding website. There are many out there like it. For example, Indiegogo.com is an alternative. But really when people are talking about Kickstarter funding, they're talking about launching a new project into the world via crowdfunding. Because if you're not familiar with crowdfunding, it's a way to get funding from the crowd, right? If you have a project idea, if you have a prototype, if you have something you're trying to come out with, you can actually share that project with the crowd and you can get funding directly from the source. So it's a way to cut out the middleman, right? You have a middleman maybe who's trying to help you get funding in a certain way and taking an equity percentage or something like that. Maybe a venture capitalist, or if you're doing a record label or something like that, maybe they're in charge with the funding aspect. But when it comes to Kickstarter, you are going directly to the crowd. You're getting funding from them and you're not giving up any kind of equity. So how does this work? How do you get magic money to fall from the sky, Salvador? Tell me the secrets of this. Okay, so let's deliver a little bit on our promise here. So first of all, the way that this works, the reason why people back or support Kickstarter campaigns, first of all, they're known as patrons. And that kind of comes from the whole patrons of the art, right? These are people who don't want to just support a creator, or they don't want to just necessarily help someone with their vision to impact the world, but they also want to get something back in some way. So for example, if you're a patron of the arts, going back to the Sistine Chapel, going back, thousands of years ago, if you are a patron of the arts, usually you're getting to be able to see your artwork in the real world. So when it comes to Kickstarter, if you are backing a Kickstarter campaign as a backer, you're usually pre-ordering the product. So for example, if you have a physical invention, which you've come out with, and you're getting Kickstarter funding for that, typically the people that are backing that project are going to be able to pre-order the product. So when they actually back it, for example, $150 or $200, they're pre-ordering the product. And maybe in 2 months' time, 3 months' time, 5 months' time, you're going to deliver that product to them to their doorstep. So the first thing you should take away from this video is that Kickstarter funding is all about a relationship with your backers. And these are very different from people that are just buying a product on Amazon. This is very different as well from charitable giving or nonprofit giving. People expect something in return when they back your campaign on Kickstarter. And these are known as perks or rewards. So for example, if I check out your campaign, or you post it on my online forum, kickstarterforum.org, or you post it in one of my Facebook groups that has more than 10,000 members, and you're like, Sal, this is so cool, check this out. Or even you email me at my website, crowdcrux.com, you're like, Sal, this is so cool, go and check this out. If I decide to back your campaign, I'm going to be able to select from a menu item of rewards or perks, and some of those might include the product. If you have more of like a film project or something like that, maybe I'll also get a poster of your actual movie, or I'll get it signed, or I'll be able to participate and be a member of the cast, or contribute a line of dialogue, be able to check out the movie screening, right? Depending on the type of project which you have, which you're raising money for, you can offer different perks or rewards to the people that back your campaign on Kickstarter. So I think we've covered that, which is the fact that the reason why people are supporting these campaigns and what it means by Kickstarter funding is that you're basically pre-selling whatever experience or project which you are creating, be that a film project, be it a theater project, a book, a novel of some kind, a card game. Brandon Sanderson recently raised millions of dollars for his Kickstarter campaign, which was for a series of novels. So you can literally use this platform to fund most projects that are out there, be that a technology gadget or gizmo, or something more on the creative side. The next question is, how does this work? Sal, tell me, how does this actually work when it comes to Kickstarter funding? How do I launch a campaign? How does the whole process work? So first of all, when it comes to doing a Kickstarter campaign, it's not like you can just have magic money falling from the sky, right? Which would be incredible and amazing, but money does not grow on trees. You also have to put in a little bit of work into actually assembling a Kickstarter campaign. So that means a pitch video. That also means some campaign text with usually some nice looking graphics and description of the actual project, the budget of how you're gonna actually allocate these campaign funds, maybe the high level benefits of this new product which you've come out with or that you've invented. So you have to put together a Kickstarter campaign in order to actually launch this sucker out there and be able to raise funds from the crowd. So when you're doing a campaign on Kickstarter, typically it's gonna last a certain duration of time. So for example, maybe you decide to launch a Kickstarter campaign for a new product which you've invented. You're gonna allow people to back this campaign or support it, become a patron of your campaign, maybe for the course of 30 days. 30 days to 60 days is usually average when it comes to doing a Kickstarter campaign. So you're gonna be launching a campaign out there, you're getting the pitch video which describes exactly what you've created or what you're raising money for. You got your campaign text, you got your nice looking rewards that are gonna get people excited about participating in this. And then you launch the campaign for maybe 30 days or 60 days. There's a certain duration which you're raising money for. The next hallmark element of a Kickstarter campaign is the fact that there is a funding goal. So it's not like you're just raising tons of money online. You are actually setting a specific goal which you're trying to get to. And if you're able to get to that goal, typically you can then actually ship out those perks and those rewards to your backers. So it's basically a funding meter or a threshold that you need to hit in order to actually move forward with the project in a meaningful way. So that funding goal is what we call the funding meter or the funding goal on Kickstarter. You have to hit or exceed that amount in order to keep the funds which have been raised. So this is actually a really big component. Put a massive asterisk on this. If you have like a notebook, you should definitely be writing this down. You need to hit or exceed your funding goal on Kickstarter to be able to keep the funds which have been raised. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you, for example, you launch a campaign, you did everything that I'm talking about, maybe you read my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, which is available on Audible, paperback version. We now have a hard copy version as well. You can go and check out in the links in the description. You follow everything I talk about, you launch your campaign, you get funding, but you were maybe trying to raise, you had a $50,000 funding goal and you only raised $45,000. Unfortunately, you can't keep the funds which you've raised. You have to hit or exceed your funding goal in order to keep the funds. And this is called all or nothing crowdfunding. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. At this point in this YouTube video, which is designed to be educational, useful, and helpful, and if you do think that it is, give me a thumbs up. Let me know by leaving a comment down below if you like my teaching style, right? Make sure you leave a positive one. But at this point in time, you now understand what is Kickstarter funding and also what goes into a specific Kickstarter campaign. So you need the campaign video, the campaign page, you need to have the perks and the rewards, right? You need to launch the campaign over a specific funding duration, and you need to have a funding goal, which you are trending towards a target that you're aiming to hit in some kind of a meaningful way that if you do hit, you can move forward with the project. The last component that I want to talk about on this video is really what goes into a great campaign, and more specifically, how do you get started with something like this? Who is this for and who is this not for? So I would say, first of all, Who this is for is for people that want to get a project out there, that want to get funding from the crowd, that want to bypass a middleman and be able to go directly to the source to get people excited, to build a tribe from scratch, to build a brand really, and to also get feedback on their creation. If you're the kind of person that's like, don't want feedback in any kind of meaningful way, you just want to be able to ship a product very quickly in 2 days, this is probably not the right platform for you. But if you want to launch a project, you want to build an audience, you want to get tons of feedback from that audience when it comes to your specific idea or project, and when you ship out your rewards, for example, if you invented a new mug or a new camera or something like that, you want to get feedback on the actual product, people are going to be able to give that to you when you ship out those perks or those rewards. This is also for you if you don't want to take angel investment or venture capitalist funding, right? So if you don't want to give away a percentage of equity in your company in order to raise these funds, this is also going to be a great match for you because you're generating revenue, right? When people are backing your campaign, they're basically pre-ordering your product or they're supporting your project, which is either a donation or more in the line of revenue. So you're not, again, raising investment capital or something like that. I have other videos out there on YouTube and I've written a whole book on that. But when it comes to Kickstarter, you're not having to give away any kind of equity. This is also for you, man, if you are the type of person who just has tons and tons and tons of ideas and you want a consistent way to get funding for those ideas. I've had people on my podcast, the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. We've done over 400 episodes on that podcast. I've been doing this podcast for over 5 years now, since 2015. And when it comes to this podcast, I've collected so many success stories of people that have raised money successfully on Kickstarter multiple times. I think that the most that a guest has ever had has been 20 campaigns that they've done on Kickstarter. So if you're not just interested in a one-off campaign, which you can be, but I would say if you're really interested in also learning a mechanism to get funding for your ideas long-term, consistently, you have a whole product line maybe that you have in mind, or you want to have multiple projects you get funding for in the future, this is a great way to set up that foundation. Okay, who is this not for? Sal, you're seeing so many praises of Kickstarter. Do you work for Kickstarter? No, I don't work for Kickstarter in any kind of meaningful way. I'm supported by people just like you that are smashing the like button, that are subscribing to this channel, that are checking out my courses, my programs, my books, my coaching, etc. I'm supported by people just like you. I work for the people, right? But when it comes to this, I do think that Kickstarter is not for everyone. So I would say a couple of things. One is if you're not willing to actually prepare and plan for a campaign. I have people that I get really excited and they're like, Sal, I want to get a campaign out there. I'm going to launch this in a week from now. And I'm like, gosh, you're trying to get a whole campaign together for a week? Like when I'm doing that, or when I'm helping clients with that, when we're coaching students through that, they're usually spending at least 1 to 3 months on the preparation phase for a Kickstarter campaign. And in some cases, when they're doing 6 and 7 figures, they're actually preparing for more like 5 months before they launch the project. So I'd say on the minimum, you have to be willing to prepare at least 1 month before you go live with a Kickstarter campaign. The median or the average is probably more along 1 to 3 months when it comes to launching a successful campaign, one that gets overfunded, raises a heck of a lot of money on the platform. And lastly, I would say that if you're not willing to actually put that time into the preparation of a great video, campaign page, pre-launch marketing, doing marketing promotion throughout the campaign, this is probably not the right fit for you. The second, and this might actually cause a lot of people to dislike this video. So this is actually something I want to be honest about, which is that if you're not willing to be public with your project, with your product, with your idea, again, this might not be the right fit for you because you got to be willing to be public. You got to be telling people about the products, about the invention. You got to be selling, you got to be marketing. You got to be selling that sizzle behind the actual project to get people to want to participate. So if you're very mysterious and you can't tell them anything about it, it's very unlikely that they're going to actually participate in it, because unfortunately, there have been a lot of crowdfunding scams, people who have done that and just kind of taken the money and run. And unfortunately, they've hurt the actual crowdfunding community. So you have to be willing to be transparent, honest, talk with your backers, be available to do that, answer FAQs, those kinds of things. And if you're not willing to do that, crowdfunding, probably not for you. Finally, if you are not willing to learn, if you're not willing to hold in one hand that ambition to get what you deserve, to actually reach your full potential, to go out there and to smash through your goals in life, in business, and to bring new projects into the world, but also to temper that and have in your other hand the willingness to educate yourself, the willingness to learn about the process, the willingness to embrace uncertainty, and maybe even get help along the way when it comes to this process, I don't think this is a great medium for you, because there are a lot of things you're gonna have to learn. A lot of different little terminologies, a lot about what actually works well when it comes to Kickstarter, how to assemble a great video, how to get a great campaign page. If you're not willing to just spend a little bit of time, I'm not talking about a lot, but just a little bit of time learning about the process, this is probably not what I'm talking about in terms of a good fit for you. I have made it my life's work to make this as easy for you to do as possible. So I find that for a lot of students, the easiest way to get started, if you're really just trying to go from the straightest path of A to B or A to Z, is to number one, go and check out my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. So many people have said very nice things about the book. I have an audible version, I have a paperback version. We also have a hard copy version and an ebook version to show you the exactly paint by numbers formula that goes into launching a Kickstarter campaign. The second is I have a new free course out there, which is actually going to be sharing with you how to actually use AI or artificial technology to launch a new Kickstarter campaign. So if you want to take a lot of the legwork and the hard work out of launching a campaign, go and check out my free course, which I will link up down below at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. And finally, if you've been watching me for a little bit, or you've really come to really want to actually do this project, or even skip to the finish line and decide, is this something that's a good fit for you or not, and you're willing to get an expert advice on this, I do have an option called an individual coaching call. So these are one-off individual intensive coaching calls with me, which you can book and get that call scheduled ASAP. All you gotta do is fill out a little bit of information, tell me more about you, tell me about where you are, tell me about how you're trying to launch this project, what resources you have access to, when you're trying to actually do this, tell me more about the project, and we can get that call scheduled ASAP. And not only can we go through an intensive call in terms of your strategy, your techniques, everything that's going into the projects, but I can also share with you resources you don't know about, tools that you don't know about, really dig into this entire library I have working since 2012 within this industry in order to help you launch that project and to raise a heck of a lot more than you could do on your own, and also introduce you to other contacts that I have in the industry. If you want to check out that option, go down below at crowdcrux.com/coaching, and you can book an individual coaching call with me and get that call scheduled ASAP. All right, man, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and if you did enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up. Come subscribe to this channel for more content just like this. I would say the number one thing that separates my audience from everyone else out there on YouTube is the fact that we are action takers. We're willing to push through obstacles. We're willing to sometimes go through those difficult emotions to get something out there that's gonna impact the world for the positive. And if you resonate with that message, it'd be incredible if you join the community, you come subscribe, and you also give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.